The twin moons of planet Varela glowed high above the city of Marintha. It was a peaceful evening. Bright lights danced through the sky as flying transporters moved between domes and towers. One of those towers was a human research lab tall, quiet and off-limits to most species. Kazari, young alien girl of the Zelari race, walked alone through the garden path near the research tower. She was small, with glowing green eyes, soft silver skin, and tiny frills on her neck that fluttered. When she was nervous, she wasn't supposed to be here, but curiosity was her nature. Her people had warned her about humans. They smell strange. Some said, they act too kind, others whispered. But Kazari was different. She wanted to know the truth for herself. She saw a glass door cracked open. No guards, no warning signs she could read. Her curiosity flared. It looks like a botanical chamber, she whispered to herself. Maybe they grow earth plants here. Without hesitation, she stepped inside. The room was filled with strange machines, blinking lights, and hundreds of small glass containers. Soft green vapor floated through the air, released from one of the larger cylinders. It smelled sweet, almost too sweet. Kazari walked forward, her frills twitching. "What is this?" she murmured, stepping into the mist. Suddenly a small alarm beeped, and the door behind her slid shut with a click. She froze. But instead of panic, a strange feeling took over her warmth, spreading from her chest, down her arms, into her legs. Her skin prickled. Her breath quickened. She stumbled backward and fell against the wall, gasping. "What? What's happening to me?" she cried. In the next room, a human scientist named Lucas Carter looked up from his screen. He was running tests on synthetic pheromones, specially designed human chemicals, meant to test interspecies reactions. When he saw the alarm blinking, his eyes widened. Containment Chamber 3. Someone's inside? He rushed out of his lab. When he reached the glass door, he was shocked. An alien girl, barely adult by Zelari standards, was inside, sitting on the floor, her body shaking. "Hey, you okay?" he shouted, tapping the glass. She turned toward him. Her pupils were large, her skin glowing lightly. She looked confused and scared. Lucas slammed the emergency release. The mist hissed as it got sucked out. The door opened. He stepped in carefully. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said gently. "You shouldn't be here, Butar, you all right?" She looked up at him, her lips trembling. I don't know what's happening," she whispered. Her voice was softer than before, almost shy. "I just walked in, and then my body." Lucas looked around and instantly realized what had happened. "Oh no," he muttered. "You inhaled the pheromone vapor." He took out a scanner from his belt and ran it over her. Her heart rate was elevated, body temperature rising. Fast. Skin receptors were overloaded. "This wasn't meant for you," he said, frowning. "It's a test formula, meant to trigger human responses." She blinked at him. "But I'm not human. I know. That's the problem." They moved her to the med bay. Kazari sat quietly on the edge of the bed, breathing slowly. Her hands trembled. Her eyes kept glancing toward Lucas. Something was wrong. Something deep inside her had changed. She could feel it. Every breath she took, her body reacted strangely to the scent of the human. It was like she was being pulled toward him. Her chest ached. Her legs felt weak when he stood too close. Lucas noticed her discomfort. "I'll keep my distance," he said kindly. "This wasn't supposed to happen. The formula is experimental. No one thought it would affect alien species like this." She tried to speak, but her throat tightened. "I feel warm," she whispered. "Not sick. Not hurt, just like I need something." Lucas paused. His face went serious. "You may be entering a form of heat," he said carefully. "Some species go into that state when exposed to certain chemical signals. But you're Zelari. That shouldn't be possible." Her eyes widened. "Heat, like mating." He looked away. "Maybe. I'm not sure yet. I'll run some tests, but you should rest." promise. I'll fix this." She nodded weakly, but deep inside, something was already changing. Something that couldn't be undone. The night on planet Varela felt colder than usual, but not for Kazari. She lay curled up on the medbay bed, her body covered with a thermal sheet, yet sweating. The scanner lights blinked above her, reading signs that made no sense to the alien medical texts. Her fingers gripped the edge of the bed as another wave passed through, hurl like fire crawling under her skin, heat rising from her stomach to her throat. She bit her lip hard, holding back a sound. This wasn't sickness, it was craving. Her thoughts weren't hers anymore. Flashes of the human man, Lucas kept invading her mind. His scent, his voice, his kindness. Kazari had never been in heat before. Zalari females didn't go into heat. It was not part of their evolution. But now she was changing. In the next room, Lucas stared at the test results, confused and worried. Her hormone levels were spiking like a human female, entering intense ovulation, but that was impossible. Her DNA had no compatibility for that, unless something had activated a dormant sequence. He rubbed his forehead, his heart uneasy. "She's bonding to me," he whispered to himself. That wasn't science. That was instinct. Back in the med bay, Kazari was trying to hide her trembling. Didn't want anyone to see her like this. Weak. Hot. Needy. She got up from the bed, walked to the mirror. What she saw made her stumble back. Her silver skin had a soft pink glow now, like human warmth bleeding through. Her pupils weren't vertical anymore. They had shifted around her. Her breathing changed, too short, shallow, heavy with desire. Her own reflection didn't feel like her anymore. She pressed a hand to the glass. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Behind her, the door hissed open. Lucas entered slowly, holding a tray with nutrient gel and water. "I brought you something," he said softly. "You need to stay hydrated." She didn't turn around. "Is this normal? For your kind?" she asked in a low voice. He paused. "What do you mean, this pull?" "Like my bones are crawling to be near you, like my skin burns. When you're far and calms, when you're close." Lucas swallowed. "No, it's not normal. Not for us, not like that." She turned to him, slowly, and her glowing eyes locked with his. "I think my body wants something it doesn't understand." Lucas backed away slightly, giving her space. "You're reacting to the pheromones on a deeper level than I expected. They weren't designed for cross-species use." "Then why do I feel like this?" she asked sharply. "Why can't I breathe unless I smell you?" Her hands trembled again. She sat down quickly, holding her head. "I'm scared, Lucas. This doesn't feel like me anymore. It feels like someone else is growing inside. Someone with your scent in her lungs and heat in her belly." Lucas kneeled in front of her but didn't touch. "I'll help you figure this out. We'll run more tests. Maybe your people had a hidden link to humans long ago. Something in your blood woke up when you breathed us in." She looked up, her voice breaking. "And what if I can't turn it off?" Lucas looked into her eyes. "Then we find a way to live with it. You're not alone." But in his heart, he knew. She was changing in ways even he couldn't explain. This wasn't just biology. It was the beginning of something far deeper, something primal. Cliffhanger. Ending for part 2. Later that night, while Lucas slept in the next room, Kazari slipped silently out of bed. Her skin shimmered faintly. Her scent had changed too. She walked to the door, reached out, and then paused. She didn't understand the new hunger rising in her, but one thing was certain. Her body wasn't just reacting to human pheromones anymore. It was becoming something new, and it had only just begun. Lucas hadn't slept much. He sat at his desk, staring at the lab results blinking on his datapad. Every scan of Kazari's body showed something strange wrong even, but at the same time, beautiful. Her blood had started producing new human hormones. Her bones were slowly shifting shape. Her cells were rewriting themselves, not just reacting, but adapting. It was evolution. It's happening in real time, and Lucas didn't know whether to be fascinated or afraid. Kazari sat in the corner of the quiet medroom, legs folded beneath her, body wrapped in a soft blanket. Her skin no longer had its silvery shine. It was smooth, soft, almost like his. She barely blinked. She didn't speak much since the night before, but Lucas noticed everything. The way her eyes always searched for him. The way her body leaned slightly toward his. Whenever he was near, and something even more alarming, she had stopped reacting to the presence of any other species, only him. Later that morning, one of the alien nurses stepped in, a tall, scaled male from the Varnock species. He came with food, placed the tray gently down. But Kazari didn't even look at him. Her head remained low, her breath shallow. Only when Lucas entered the room, minutes later, did she stir. Her frills lifted slightly, her body relaxed, her fingers curled around the blanket, her lips trembled. Lucas sat beside her on the bed's edge. "You didn't eat?" he said gently. She looked up at him. "I can't." She whispered, "It doesn't taste like anything." He frowned. That's not normal." She reached forward suddenly and touched his wrist. Her fingers lingered on his skin, warm, steady. Double quotes, "I only feel calm when you're here," she said. "When you leave, I shake." Lucas didn't move. He let her hold on, but deep inside, his heartbeat was racing. He ran more tests that afternoon while she rested. Lucas quietly scanned her DNA structure again. He zoomed in closer than ever before. His eyes widened. There was a new strand forming, something that had never existed before. It was hers, but it was also his. Somehow, her body had copied part of his genetic code and started building with it. Not like a virus, more like a choice, like her biology had selected him. When Kazari woke, she found him asleep beside the bed, sitting on a chair, datapad on his lap. She quietly stood up, walked over, and looked down at him. His scent hit her immediately. It filled her chest. Her mind, she dropped to her knees in front of him without thinking. Her hands reached out. She stopped. Her fingers hovered inches from his face. "No," she whispered to herself, "not like this." She turned away quickly and curled up. On the floor, Lucas woke moments later. "Kazari," he said softly. She didn't move. He walked over and crouched beside her. "I noticed something," he said, voice calm. She didn't speak. "You're not sick. You're transforming. Your body's creating a new coda bridge between human and Zelleria. It's using my pheromones as the map." She turned her head slowly, eyes wide. "Am I still?" "Me." He looked into her glowing eyes. "Yes, but you're also something more now." Kazari sat up, breath shaking. Her hands clutched his shirt. "If this continues, I won't be able to hide it," she said. "My people will see me as impure. Yours will see me as a threat." Lucas didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached out and placed a hand on hers. "Then we stand together. Whatever you're becoming, you don't face it alone." Cliffhanger ending for part 3, just as those words left his mouth. Kazari gasped, her spine arched, her skin glowing bright gold. For a moment, then faded. Lucas caught her before she fell. The transformation had begun accelerating again. And this time, it wasn't subtle. Somewhere deep in her body, evolution had chosen a path, and it was now racing toward the unknown. Asterisk. The jungle of Varela was silent at night, too silent. No insect calls, no fluttering wings, only the sound of rapid footsteps through the underbrush, and the sharp, unsteady breath of a girl running from herself. Kazari's feet were bare. Her blanket was gone. She wore only a medical robe, half torn. Her skin glowed dimly under the moons, casting soft gold. Between the trees, her legs trembled, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. Back at the outpost, alarms blinked red across the medical screen. Patient 04Z left the compound. A voice rang out. Lucas shoved aside the chair and sprinted to the security panel. The footage showed her slipping past the guards, jumping the southern wall with strength far beyond normal Zalari limits. She was gone. Lucas's heart dropped into his stomach. Kazari? She didn't know how far she had run only that her chest burned in her mind. felt like it would split in two. Every step away from Lucas made her feel more unstable, more lost. But she was scared of what would happen if she stayed in her mind. She kept seeing herself on top of him, her hands shaking with desire, her mouth whispering his name like a prayer. This isn't who I am, she kept telling herself. She stumbled into a grove and collapsed. Beside a hot spring hidden in the brush, the steam curled around. Her body, her breath was sharp and wild, and then she screamed, not from pain, but from the overwhelming need she couldn't understand. Lucas chased her signal deep into the forest, carrying only a scanner and a cloak. The further he went, the more interference blocked her trail. He followed the heat signature until he saw it gold light. Glowing from the trees, he slowed down. She was there. Kazari sat beside the spring, half-curled, her back to him. Her body shimmered. Like starlight, the frills on her neck had melted into smooth skin. Her tail was gone. She was almost human, but not quite. He stepped forward gently. Kazari, she stiffened. Don't come near me. Lucas paused. I'm not here to harm you. That's the problem, she whispered. You don't need to. I'm the one who's dangerous now. She turned to face him, and his breath caught. Her eyes had changed. They weren't just human-shaped. They had his exact iris color. Her voice shook with fear and rage. My body is copying you. It's claiming me. I can't stop it. Lucas walked closer. I think your body is doing what it thinks will protect you, he said. Survival, adaptation, it's not just heat, Kazari. It's rebirth. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't choose this. I know. She looked down. I don't know if I'll ever feel normal again. He kneeled beside her, then slowly placed his cloak over her shoulders. You may not go back to the girl you were, he said softly, but maybe you'll become something even more powerful. Her hand touched his chest, almost by accident. He didn't flinch. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time froze. Then the sky thundered. Above, a solar storm tore across the sky, violent and sudden. The blast from Varella's twin stars lit up. The horizon, in flashing arcs, the air screamed with static. Lucas's scanner cracked and died. Communications were lost. They were cut off from the world. He looked at Kazari. Looks like we're stuck here. For a while, she gave a weak, tired laugh. Then you better stay close. My heat's worse when I'm cold. Lucas smiled faintly, but beneath his calm. He felt it too. This wasn't just a change. It was a collision of biology and fate. And the storm outside was nothing compared to the one rising between them. Cliffhanger. Ending for part 4. As they took shelter inside a nearby cave, Kazari sat against the wall, staring into the fire Lucas had built. Suddenly, she gasped again. Not from pain, but from pleasure. Her back arched. Her breath trembled. Her body glowed once more, but this time, it pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. Lucas looked at her, stunned. She whispered, I think I'm sinking to you now. And the fire crackled louder. The cave was silent, except for the soft crackle of firewood and the faint sound of breathing, two very different heartbeats. Slowly falling into rhythm, Kazari lay wrapped in the human's cloak, her body tucked beside the fire. Her skin glowed. Like polished stone under the flames, no longer silver, no longer purely Zalari. Lucas sat nearby, watching her carefully. Trying not to stare but failing. Every hour she looked less alien. Her ears had reshaped. Her fingers had lost the thin webbing. Even the frills on her neck were gone now, replaced by soft, smooth skin. And when she looked at him, it wasn't the same girl who had stumbled into his lab days ago. Her gaze was deeper now, hungry, knowing Kazar. Opened her eyes slowly. She could feel everything. The air against her skin. The rhythm of Lucas's breath. The way her body hummed when he was near. Her senses were no longer hers. They were connected to him. She sat up, slow and careful, as if waking from a dream. Lucas turned. You okay? She blinked. Looked at her own hands and gasped. My veins, she said, holding them up. They're glowing. He stepped closer. Golden veins ran under her skin like living threads of light. They pulsed gently with every beat of his heart. Her transformation had entered its final stage. Lucas grabbed his portable scanner, tried to scan her again, but the screen flickered and shut off. Solar storm interference, no data, no help, only instinct. He looked at her, voice low. Kazari, your body's syncing with me. Not just copying, not just adapting. It's bonding. She stood now, arms trembling. I feel it too, she whispered. When you're near, my thoughts clear. When you're far, it's like my blood boils. She stepped forward close enough that he could see every detail in her eyes. It's not just heat anymore, Lucas. My soul is changing. He hesitated, then gently touched her shoulder. The moment his skin met hers, her body reacted with a visible ripple of golden energy that traveled from her collarbone to her fingertips. She gasped. Falling forward against his chest, Lucas caught her, wrapping his arms around her, but she didn't let go. Her voice trembled. Something inside me wants to be yours. Not because of instinct, but because it feels right. Lucas held her tighter. You're not just becoming human, Kazari. You're becoming something new, something never seen before. Suddenly she cried out and collapsed to her knees. Lucas dropped with her Kazari. Her spine arched against her body, glowing brighter this time. She clutched her chest. Her heartbeat raced. Her breath came in short bursts, but then she calmed, and her voice was soft. Odd. It's done. Lucas helped her sit upright. Her skin now shimmered with a soft, permanent golden tone. Her body was a perfect balance of Zalari elegance and human form. Her voice was smoother. Her face had shifted, still alien, but strikingly beautiful in a way that defied species. She looked up at him and smiled weakly. I think I've become whatever I was meant to be. Lucas stepped back, staring at her, stunned. She tilted her head. Yours, she said with a teasing smile. He chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of his neck. Let's take one step at a time. But deep inside, he knew this was no longer about science or survival. This was evolution through connection, and it had chosen them. Cliffhanger is ending for part 5. A distant rumble echoed through the jungle. Lights flickered in the sky. A rescue drone hovered over, head searching for survivors. Kazari looked up. They'll find us soon, she said. Lucas nodded. Are you ready to show them what you've become? Kazari took his hand. I don't know what they'll see. But if they call me a monster, I want to be your monster. And the fire crackled on as the storm began to fade and something beautiful prepared to walk into the light. Asterisk, the storm had passed. Only mist remained, hanging low over the jungle floor, curling around ancient trees like faded breath from the past. Lucas and Kazari walked slowly through the vines and shadows, guided by the drone's tracking light. But they didn't follow it. Kazari had led them somewhere else. I saw it in my dream, she whispered. A stone gate, with carvings that looked like me. Lucas said nothing. She stopped and pointed ahead. There it was, a broken stone arch half covered by roots and moss, standing like a forgotten monument in the center of the jungle. The wind stilled. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath. They stepped through the arch into a wide circular clearing where nature had not dared grow. In the center was a slab of obsidian stone, smooth as glass, glowing faintly with gold and blue symbols. Kazari walked toward it slowly. As she touched it, the stone lit up beneath her. Fingers. Lucas's eyes widened. It's reacting to your DNA, he said. No, Kazari whispered. It's reacting to both of us. She reached back and grabbed his hand, pulling him gently forward. The moment he touched the stone, it pulsed. A burst of soft light surrounded them. Then, a hologram appeared. A figure of light stood before them. Tall, elegant alien woman with both human and Zalari features, her body glowing with the same golden veins now running through Kazari. She spoke in an old, forgotten language, but Kazari understood it. It was in her blood now. She translated aloud, word by word, voice trembling. To those who find this, we are the ancients. The first bridge between worlds. The bond between species is more than science, it is choice, evolution by affection, unity through desire. Lucas's heart skipped. The hologram continued. Only, when the lost blood meets the compatible soul, will the transformation complete? One must carry the breath, the other the spark. Kazari looked at him, eyes wide. You're the breath, Lucas, and I'm the spark. More images appeared. Ancient humans standing beside glowing alien partners holding hands, kissing, forming families. An old truth, feared by war and fear, now returned. Lucas whispered, they tried it, long before us. Kazari nodded slowly, and the galaxy forgot. Then the hologram began to fade, but one last message remained. Those who bond through the heat of transformation will not just carry a future. They are the future. The stone went dark. The clearing fell silent. Kazari stood still, as if the wind had knocked the air from her lungs. Lucas stepped beside her. So this wasn't an accident, said. No, she replied. It was destiny. They sat beside the stone for a long time, saying nothing. Only the sound of the forest returned. Lucas finally broke the silence. What does this mean for you? Kazari leaned her head on his shoulder. It means, I'm not broken. I was called, and you were the answer. Cliffhanger ending for part 6. Suddenly, lights blinked in the trees. A voice came over the intercom. This is Human Rescue Team. Alpha, prepare for extraction. Kazari's body stiffened. They don't know what I've become, she said. Lucas looked at her calmly. Then let's show them together. And hand in hand, they stepped out of the ancient ruins into a world that would never be ready for what was coming. The rescue ship hovered low above the jungle canopy, casting a spotlight through the trees. Kazari and Lucas stood side by side at the edge of the ruins. Their silhouettes outlined by gold mist and soft moonlight, but they weren't the same two. Who entered the wild days ago? Not anymore. Kazari's body glowed with a quiet strength. She looked human in shape, but her eyes, skin, aura told a different story, something beyond either species. Lucas held her hand tightly. A team of soldiers dropped down with scanners and weapons raised. The moment they saw Kazari, they froze. Golden veins, her half-human face. The way her body pulsed faintly with each beat of Lucas's heart. Sir, one soldier whispered. What is she? Lucas stepped forward. She's mine, he said calmly. And she's not dangerous. She looks unstable, the officer replied. No, Kazari said suddenly, her voice clear. I am more stable than I've ever been. Inside the rescue ship, the tension was thick. Medical staff scanned her, confused. The data made no sense. Her cells were Zalari, but her immune system matched human structure. Her heartbeat followed Lucas's. Her scent calmed other humans around her. No one had ever seen anything like it. Some whispered hybrid, others said mutation. But one older female doctor stepped closer and said no. She's evolution. Kazari turned to Lucas, nervous. Will they let me live? Lucas took her hand. They'll have to, because I won't let them take you away. Later, in a quiet chamber aboard the ship, Kazari stood in front of a mirror. She touched her face slowly. The golden glow was softer now. Her eyes were hers. But knew then she noticed something else. A faint mark had appeared on her neck, like a glowing ring with human and Zalari lines interlocked. A bond mark, permanent, sacred, a sign of ancient unity. She smiled, not because she was happy, but because, for the first time, they belonged. Lucas entered the room quietly and saw her watching her reflection. You okay? He asked. She turned and walked over to him, slowly, confidently. I'm more than okay, she said. I've stopped changing. He smiled. Then who are you now? She placed a hand over his chest. I'm what happens when instinct meets choice. When loneliness meets a heartbeat that matches. I'm yours. Back at the human command base, news of her condition spread quickly. Some called it a threat, others called it a miracle. But the final decision came from the council. She has not harmed us. She has chosen to bond. Let her be. And just like that, the galaxy changed. Final scene, months later. Lucas and Kazari stood at the edge of a settlement being built on a new shared colony planet. Human and Zellery workers laughed and worked. Side by side, children played. Peace was growing. Kazari placed a hand on her belly. Lucas looked at her with surprise. "You're..." She nodded. "They said it wasn't possible, but I guess. We keep proving them wrong?" He laughed and kissed her forehead. Together, they turned to watch the twin suns rise, not as alien and human, but as something.
How new?
Something the stars hadn't seen in thousands of years, a true bond. A new beginning.